Today we're looking at a project the Collaborative Leadership Initiative is currently working on in partnership with the South Basin Mayors and Reeves. The Collaborative Leadership Initiative is a partnership between the Chiefs of the Southern Chiefs Organization and the Mayors and Reeves of the WMR. Since 2017, CLI Leaders have been working through a process of reconciliation facilitated by the Center for Indigenous Environmental Resources. The leaders have identified the protection of clean water, waste management, increasing economic opportunities, and good jobs as potential areas for collaborative action. The priorities identified by the CLI leaders also align with several of the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals, including SDG 15, Life on Land, which addresses the need to manage and protect forests and land from degradation and loss of biodiversity. Here with us today is Steve Strang, the Manitoba Director for the Red River Basin Commission, to tell us more about the Netley Marsh Restoration Project.
We are an organization with 44 members strong. They have something called the Natural Resource Framework Plan, which points out 13 topics which we work toward. And it's an amazing group. We try to keep the politics out of things. We focus on things that are important. We have become the glue that keeps everybody together. We're able to focus in on topics. We're able to seek solutions in ways that doesn't seem to be able to come about from other places. Our members come from a bureaucratic level and an elected level, at large level, and Indigenous. So, we're very pleased that we have a well-rounded group of people that can focus on topics that will come up with successes which address the issues of water management and water quality, and that's what the basin's all about. When this first started, the history of the organization, where the two sides of the board are coming together to focus on one topic, and the basin has stayed with that from the beginning. So there is no difference. Sometimes the topics may be one that aren't totally united, and what I mean by that, maybe the topic is more of a US or more of a Manitoba focus, but collectively, any win for water is a win for all of us. Well, there's always been an Indigenous seat sitting at the basin. Actually, there's 3 seats that are sitting there for Indigenous members. And, it is being able to collectively come together. And what I'm finding is that every year, our relationship of trust and understanding is getting stronger. And I think that's the difference here, where the focus in society is different to that of the focus of our Indigenous communities. And our Indigenous communities, they work around the importance of respect and understanding, where that's not necessarily the way it is in our world today, where we're often focused on the idea of profit and moving forward. And quite frankly, I prefer the stance of our Indigenous leaders versus our present day, due to the fact that, they give consideration to the environment and 7 generations ahead of them. And when we do that, we understand no matter what we do has a cost, and it will be the First Nations who lead the understanding of the fact that there is a cost when we take from the environment. The marsh is devastated. It's been manipulated by human interference or human manipulation. Things like the cut going in, things like we drain our wetlands from everywhere else across the prairies, and that water hits the ditches faster, which are nutrient loaded, and you know that, and they make it to our streams and to our rivers and eventually to our lake. And the health of that wetlands is so important to the lake. And as we noticed it was deteriorating so rapidly, we collectively agreed together as a group that we needed to do something about that. But now with the water events and the manipulation of the water by humans, it has changed that to where the cut now is much wider than the width of the river, and that during spring melt, we force more than 50% of the Red River into the marsh, and these are all the factors that create this deterioration, and this is what we're focusing on, trying to find a resolve for, where everybody benefits but nobody loses. Well, climate change is a reality. Look at these temperatures. We're seeing extremes that have never been seen before, where we used to get 9 days of above 30-degree temperatures, and now, we're going to probably triple that this year, if not more than that. This heat is getting into the lake, and because our waters are nutrient rich, we're seeing these increases of algae blooms. That marsh is Mother Nature's way of filtering the water, to take those nutrient-rich waters and reduce the level of phosphates within that system. It helps us and supports our fish population by having a place for the little fish, the little frylings to hide. It allows the birds a place to nest and feed. They feed on the little frylings, as the bigger fish do. And with everything of the fauna and the flora, it brings all the wildlife in. And then at the same time, here we are with all these great gifts that the Creator or Mother Nature has given us, and it allows us to clean the lake. But because we've manipulated this so badly, we are left with nothing but a muddy hole. And how do we fix this? We need to bring that back. We need to take care of the marsh because of all the goodness it will give to the lake and to all the other things that are positively affected by it. We got a muddy, shallow lake that used to be a marsh. What are we seeing? We're seeing Mother Nature fix this by herself. She's starting to go into areas where the water has always been too deep for vegetation. Those areas are now becoming not totally dry, but dry, or 6 or 8 inches of water on there. And that vegetation is start growing. And it's amazing. We've been out almost once a week documenting this. We take out drones. People are out there in their boats, and they're taking pictures. Mother Nature is fixing herself. She just needs a little bit of help here. Once you elevate the bottom of the marsh to a level where vegetation will grow, giving consideration to the high water mark, which the federal government deem at 714.7 feet, then we will constantly see marsh growth. And as long as we continue to do that, we'll constantly see it. And eventually we'll elevate the bottom of the marsh to what it once existed. And this used to be a beautiful Hemi marsh. Hemi is half water, half vegetation, or half land. And there's no doubt in our mind that we will be able to store this gift back to what it once was. But it took how many years to destroy it? It's going to take many years to replenish it. We can only do so much a year under a controlled budget. As a society, we have to understand every action that we do creates reactions, and the actions of manipulating the marsh and the waters has created reactions which have been negative to the marsh, right? We basically flooded it out and we made it disappear. And restoring that will bring so much back. So we have a responsibility. If we take from Mother Nature, we must give back to Mother Nature. It should be about what's best for society and the ability for us to sustain ourselves and our future generations.
Chiefs from the Southern Chiefs Organization and mayors and reeves in the Winnipeg metropolitan region are working together to bring different perspectives and knowledge systems to the table that will help their communities confront common challenges. Together, the Collaborative Leadership Initiative is working towards meeting the goal of SDG 15, Life on Land. Together, these leaders are showing us how to collaborate for a more sustainable region.